Alright, well, I just made a video and then I had to restart it because I made one tiny little mistake here. I forgot when I did negative 9 times negative 3, it should have been negative 27 here, or something. I did something wrong. So let me erase everything and then start over. The reason is because I got an answer here and the math space says, well, this is supposed to be um, 0x, which was not. So let me restart this. Restarted this video, but before I do redo the problem, I wanted to show you what my mistake was. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna set up this problem by um, writing out the writing out the the dividend. 4x cubed minus 12x squared plus 3x minus 9. Okay, and then we're gonna divide it by x minus 3. Okay, so we do 4x cubed divided by x, 4x cubed divided by x, and we get 4x squared because these one of the x's get crossed out. So I'm going to write that here, 4x squared, and then we multiply it out. 4 times x is 4x cubed. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12x squared. And then now when we multiply these out, subtract them out. 4 minus 4 is 0. Negative 12 minus negative 12 is also 0, if you want to see that. Negative 12 minus negative 12 is 0. So plus 0. Okay. And then now what I'm going to do here is, since I don't, all of this came out to be 0, I'm just going to bring down the plus 3. But I need to, when we divide this out, so you have 3x divided by x, and you have these x's get crossed out, so you have 3. I have to place the 3 with its like term, which is up here. So to hold its place here, to fill up this gap, I just put 0x. Okay, and then this is a positive 3 here. Multiply it out, so you have 3 times x is 3x. Oh, don't forget to bring down the negative 9. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Okay, and then when I subtract it out, I get 0 again. So I don't really have a remainder. Alright, so we're gonna fill out our answer. So this part was wrong. That's a 3. Alright, so now let's multiply this out. It's just the I wrote it out for you now. I'm gonna show you the process here. So 4x times x is 4x to the power of 3. And then 4x times negative 3 is negative 12x squared. Oops. Negative 12x squared. Okay. And then over here, when we subtract the 2, we get a 0. Okay. And then we bring down the plus 3x. Alright, and then so my quotient is 4x squared plus 3. I don't have to write the 0x with a remainder of 0. Okay. Alright, number 4. Same type of problem. I'm not gonna write this out. I'm just gonna try to do this because they filled in all the parts here, so we can just fill in the gaps. So you have 2x cubed divided by x. If I take out an x from here and here, I have 2x squared. And then we multiply it back out, so you have 2x squared times x, which is 2x cubed. And then 2x squared times 2x is, or negative 2x is negative 4x squared. Okay? And then when we subtract it out, you notice that these are zeroed out, so that's where you get your 0x. So we bring down the 1x, and then we're going to bring down the minus 2 as well. Okay? So 1x divided by x is just 1. Okay? So 1 times x is 1x. You don't have to write 1x, but or x, either way is fine. And then 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. And then we subtract them out, we get 0. Okay? And then the quotient is 2x squared plus 1. You don't have to write the 0. 2x squared plus 1. And the remainder is 0. Okay. Alright, so for this one, alright guys, so hang in there with me. I know these problems are a little complicated, but we're going to try our best, okay? And I'm here for you if you need help. Okay, so you have here 3x cubed times divided by x squared. 3x cubed divided by x squared. The x squared cancels out, so if I take out x squared from here, I have 1x left. So you have 3x. Okay? Now, where am I going to write the 3x? Okay? I'm going to write it up here, 3x, because we need to line it up with that. Okay? So now I'm going to multiply it back out. Now, something that I forgot to mention here was, here, once we multiply it back out, we have a bit of a problem here. So you have 3x times x squared, so that's 3x cubed. We know that. 3x times 5, 3x times 5 is 15x. So I'm going to line it up with the 15x, my like terms here. Well, what do I have here? Nothing. So I'm going to put a 0x squared, and put a plus because it's positive 15, just to hold its place, so that when I am, what do you call it, subtracting it out, this was 3x cubed, I won't lose the x squared term. Okay, I put a 3 here because x times x squared is x cubed. Okay, so now we're going to subtract these polynomials out. So you have here 3 minus 3 is 0, that's gone. 5 minus 0 is just 5, 5x squared. Okay, 15 minus 15 is 0, so this is zeroed out. And then I'm going to bring down the positive 25. Okay, and then now I'm going to divide this out, so you have 5x squared divided by x squared, and then you just, the x squareds get crossed out and you have a 5. And then now I'm going to write that here. Multiply it back out. 5 times x squared is 5x squared. 5 times 5 is 25. And then when we subtract these out, everything gets zeroed out. So I have a remainder of 0. Okay, so I'm going to type that up. So you have 3. My quotient here is 3x plus 5. This line here, I have 3x squared cubed. I don't have to write the 0x squared, but I'm going to write 15x. And then when I subtract, and then in the next line, when I subtracted them out, I have 5x squared plus 25. And then I wrote the 5 here and then multiply back out, so you have 5x squared plus 25, and then we subtract those out and you have 0. Okay. So my quotient here is, my answer to the problem is 3x plus 5, and then my remainder is at a 0. Okay. All right, same problem here, but I'm not gonna write it out. I'll just do it. 3x. Sorry. I'll just at least do the back part here. If you do 3x cubed divided by x squared, so this divided by this, you get 3x, right? So I'm gonna write that here, 3x. And then when we multiply it back out, 3x times x squared, that's 3x squared, sorry, 3x cubed. And then 3x times 6, that is 3 times 6 is 18, so 18x. So these two get zeroed out, these two get zeroed out, so all I have left is 2x squared, and then you're going to bring down the 12 plus 12. And then, so now you're looking at 2x squared divided by x squared, and you get, these get crossed out, so you have 2 here. So that's what you're going to put up here, 2. Multiply back out, 2 times x squared, that's 2x squared. 2 times 6 is 12. When we subtract them both out from each other, you end up with a 0. So my quotient is, what was my quotient? 3x plus 2, and then my remainder was at a 0. Oh gosh, this is a lot here. Oh, I know why I had this example. Because I did have to show you something. Something new. Okay, new and exciting. So here, when we have x to the 4th minus 1 divided by x plus 1, okay, when we write it as a long division, you know there's a big gap between x to the 4th and x 1. There's many terms here that are, we can say, that are missing. Okay, so what are the terms that are missing? You have the x cubed term that is missing, but I'm going to put a 0 because we don't have it in here, so we can just write it out using a 0. We have an x squared term that is missing. We have a x term that is missing, and then we have a, what do you call it? And then we have the minus 1. So these are the um, what's missing in here, the terms. So I'm just going to write those in by using a 0. And then I'm going to divide it by x plus 1. Okay, so that's what was going on here. We just kind of stretched it out. Okay, but I like to write it out like this, and this is how it's usually done. All right, let's do the math. So you have x cubed, x to the 4th, divided by x. You have x to the 3rd, right? Take out an x here, take out an x here, you have x to the x to the 3rd. So I'm going to write that here. So, sorry, I had to, alright. So x cubed, multiply it out, x squared, x cubed times x is x to the 4th. X times 1 is x cubed, okay? And then when you have 0 minus x cubed. So remember there's a 1 here. So 0 minus 1 is, can get confusing. So let me show you in the calculator. 0 minus 1 is negative 1x. Okay, so that's what goes down here. Negative 1x, well, x cubed. Bring down the 0x squared. Now you have negative 1x cubed divided by x, and you get what? You get, take out an x here, take out an x here, you have negative 1x squared. Okay, so that's part of my answer, my quotient that goes up there. And then you multiply it back out. Negative 1 times positive, there's a 1 here. Negative 1 times positive 1, that is negative 1x cubed. And then negative 1 times 1 is negative x squared. Okay, we're going to subtract these two out. So negative 1 minus negative 1. I know it's getting confusing here, but just hang in there. Negative 1 minus negative 1 is 0. So that's zeroed out. And then 0 minus negative 1. The sign just changes to positive 1x squared. Okay, we're going to divide this out again. So 1x squared divided by x is equal to, take out an x, take out x, you have 1x left. That's what goes up here. And then you want to multiply it back out. X times x is x squared. Oh, don't forget to bring down the 0x. X times x is x squared. X times 1 is 1x. Subtract it out. So you have 0x minus 1 is x minus 1. I mean 0 minus 1. Why don't I know what 0 minus 1 is? 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Oh gosh. Negative 1x, and then bring down the negative 1. Okay? You're like, sure, miss, if that's what you say. Negative 1x divided by x is equal to negative 1. And that's what goes up here. Okay? So, and then it gets zeroed out from there. Okay, so you have here, well, I guess I should finish the problem. Negative 1. So annoying. Look at all this. Negative 1 times positive 1, that's negative 1. X. And then you have here negative 1 times positive 1, that's negative 1. And then so when we subtract this out, you get a, you zeroed it out. Okay, so for this one, let's see, so my quotient or my answer is the part that is up here. Okay. So you have here x cubed minus, they already have this minus right here, so you have 1x squared. So you can write 1x squared, or you can just write x squared. And then plus, and they already have this plus, so you have x, and then you have minus, and then minus 1. This part right here, I don't like how MathSpace set it up, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip it, and you can skip it in yours as well. Okay, I give you permission to do that, but we already did all this right here. I just don't want to go through it again. So my quotient is x cubed minus 1x squared. You don't have to write the 1x, or you can write it, doesn't really matter, plus x minus 1. Now, I am not giving you permission to skip the whole thing, it's just this part right here. Okay, please don't make me go in and look at your work and then I see you just skip the entire assignment. Okay? I'm giving you the answers right here, right? Alright, so this one right here, you have x x to the third, and then you have here, these end up just being 1, and then you have x to the second. This ends up being 1 as well, x x, and then this ends up being um, negative 16 divided by 2, that would be negative 8. Okay, and then I'm gonna skip this part. Okay, but see that, oh, I did this wrong. Anyway, that's fine. It is what it is. Alright, so now we're going to write our quotient. So that is x to the third minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. Okay, and you have a remainder of 0. Alright guys, last two problems. Well, the math space didn't give us like the things to fill in, right? So we're just gonna have to do this by hand. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take, it says here, if a travel distance is this, I'm going to write it out, 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus 2x plus 7. And then we need, and the speed is x plus 1, so we're going to do, the speed is x plus 1 here. What is the time travel? So we have to divide these out. So you have 3x cubed divided by x. So I'm going to write it out here, 3x cubed divided by x is equal to, take out of x, you have 3x squared. Okay, and then that's what I'm going to write up here, 3x squared. And then multiply it back out, 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. 3 times 1 is 3x squared. And then we need to subtract these out. So 3 minus 3 is 0. Negative 2 minus 3 is, let me do it in the calculator, I don't want to mess up the signs. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Negative 5x squared. Okay. Class, let me pause for here, and I know you guys don't have your calculator. They're all locked up in the classroom, so you know on your desktop right here, you can go to TestNav. You should still have it. Go to TestNav, and then you're gonna go to, this is the best way that I know how to get to the calculator for Desmos. I mean, you can always go to your browser and do it that way as well. And then you're gonna do this. You're gonna scroll down, go to SOL practice items, and here's a Desmos calculator. And then here you want the Desmos graphing calculator. Press start. Press this, all of this, start, and then you have your calculator right here. And what I like about it here is that you can kind of adjust the screen a little bit. Where'd it go? There it is. And then just kind of keep using this, okay? I'm gonna make it bigger. All right, so where's my there? Okay, so I have my calculator there. All right, I'm gonna keep working. So, after I have subtracted this, make sure to bring this down to x. Okay. All right, next, I'm going to take negative 5x squared, and I'm going to divide it by x. Take out of x, take out of x, you have x squared. So you have negative 5 x squared. Okay, so you do put negative 5x squared up here, and then you multiply it back out. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Right, that's x, that is x, there's no x squared here. There's an x squared here because x times x, this is where the x squared comes from. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5 x. Okay, these two get crossed out, but then here 2 minus negative 5, okay? 2 minus negative 5 is positive 7. Positive 7, and then you have your x. Bring down the 7, and then now you do 7x divided by x. X's get crossed out, and you have 7. And that's what goes up here. Multiply it back out. X times 7 is 7x. X times 7 times 1 is 7. And this gets zeroed out. So my answer here is 3x squared minus 5x plus 7. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Where's 3x squared minus 5x plus 7. Okay. And then the last one, same type of problem. 4x cubed minus 3x squared plus 12x plus 9. And then we're going to divide it by x plus 1. Alright, so we have here 4x cubed divided by x, this term divided by this term, and you have take out an x, take out an x, so you have x squared, 4x squared, and I'm going to write that up here. Then we're going to multiply it back out. 4x squared times x is 4x cubed. 4x times 1 is positive 4x squared. And remember, we are subtracting these out. Okay? So once we subtract, so 4 minus 4 is 0. Negative 3 minus 4. Okay? Negative 3 minus 4. I love Desmos. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Okay? So, oops. Negative 7, and then you have x squared. Bring down the 2x. So now we do negative 7x, this term right here, divided by x. Okay, so x's get crossed out, and you have 1x and negative 7x. That goes up here, negative 7x. That goes up there. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x squared. What is this? That's a 7. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7x. And then we're going to subtract these out. So you have here 0. We don't have to write it. So 2 minus negative 7. 2 minus negative 7 is positive 9. Positive 9x. And then now we're going to bring down the 9. Next, we're going to do write x divided by x. Okay. Equals. Get crossed out, so you just have 9 here. Okay. And then now, where do we write this 9? It goes up here. Multiply it back out. 9 times 9 is 9x. 9 times 1 is 1. No, 9 times 1 is 9, which is equal to 0. There's my remainder, and there's my answer. 4x squared minus 7x plus 9. 4x squared minus 7x plus 9. There you go. Alrighty, there you go, class. I will do the next lesson tomorrow. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Bye.